Hey everyone, this is Ryan B. Welcome to Practical FX Trading. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Lower right corner of your screen, subscribe button, click that if you want to get updates every week for all the major currency pairs. And you can subscribe to this Euro-Yen playlist specifically too if you want. So, let's get into the weekly analysis for the Euro-Yen, December 22nd, 2019. We'll have markets opening this afternoon. And we're coming into the end of the year and the Christmas holiday season, which here in the U.S. means that trading should be pretty light. All the bankers take a half day on Tuesday, so then they also take Christmas off. You've got some people making moves, after Christmas Day, but usually the volume's pretty light. Doesn't mean price isn't going to move, but price will be moving. It'll be slower than usual just because of light in volume. Now, there's a bunch of Japanese yen data coming out this week. So if there's going to be a catalyst for a market trigger, it'll probably be from the Japanese data. There is, though, durable goods data for US dollar coming out tomorrow. The euro has a couple data events early in the week, but for most of the early week, I'm going to lay low and probably stay out until some more volume comes back. So what we're looking at here is the daily trend line. This has been a trend channel going back to early 2018. We see with most recently last week that price came up and pierced through this 200-day moving average, now is falling back below, and touched this upper trend channel quite perfectly actually. So good chance that's the highest we're going to see price for a while. Now, if we look at our pivot points, so I use a pivot point strategy. I use the weekly pivot points. And what this tells us is that these are different. I use pivot points kind of like a map, right? This is places where price could visit, or it will most likely visit based on a mathematical principle. There's a pivot point formula that goes off of the previous candles, open, close, high, and low. So that's how pivot points are calculated. Now, I don't usually do them by hand. I go to a place like Forex.com and I use their pivot point tool. You can pull up daily, weekly, monthly, but the principle is the same. So what that told me is that price is sitting right below this pivot right now and right on top of this 200 period moving average. We also see price on top of the fast and medium, so the 20 and the 50, but the overall trend is down. So that tells me is most likely this week or next couple weeks, price is going to be fairly sideways, right? So we see historically, if we go back to summer of 2019, we see that price was stuck between this 122 and 120.75 area, kind of like plunged back and forth for a few months, right? And so here's another perfect example where even though price is coming down here, if it pauses on top of this moving average, it might come back up for a little bit. So possibility we will see heavier selling when price returns closer to this weekly R1. However, you never know. We have some strong bearish candles, right? 3 strong bearish candles in a row on the daily. So we could see further falling quickly as long as price stays below this 121 area, right? That pivot point. Let's go ahead and zoom in. I'm going to look at the 4-hour now. I want to diagnose this short-term uptrend within the larger downtrend channel. So it's always important to know what time frame you're trading in. And what I mean is, if something's a sell in the daily, it might be a buy in the hourly. It just depends on where price is in the big picture of things. So depending on your trading goals, you want to really identify what time frame you want to be trading in, right? So if I'm going for something shorter, I'm looking at like the hourly or the 4-hourly. If I'm looking for something longer, I'm looking at my daily or weekly charts. So let's go ahead. What I'm doing is I'm just like looking at my ultimate tops, and notice that I don't do them exactly with the tops of the shadows, because the shadows of these candles basically price pierced up and then was rejected. So I'm really more concerned about where price finished, not where it traveled to, because depending on the amount of market volume, You can have some moves that are really exaggerated, but they don't in fact actually break trend. So looks like there's some room here for some more falling for the euro. It's been kind of getting beat up lately. But if it does, I got some pretty good support here, right, in this 120, that weekly support zone. And the 200 4-hour moving average, this green line here, it's kind of tracing along right below it, right below our weekly S1. So if price does continue to drop, good chance it's going to, pause and consolidate around this 120 mark, which then it could make another attempt at this, this big resistance descending trend line. But that happens a lot, right? That's kind of movement we expect. So right now, the price is kind of in the middle. We could see it, as long as it stays below this pivot point, could head down to 120.76. I think, though, we're going to see another stab at this 122 level, and this might be a good place. If I'm looking to sell, I might be looking when price returns here at the beginning of the year, because even if it goes down to 120.76, by this trend line that's been happening for months, it's going to take another stab at this overhead resistance. Let's zoom back out, and we see this grid. So let's go ahead and just take a quick peek at the weekly. I need to reset my chart because I got a little out of whack. Sometimes if you're having a hard time discerning what your charts are telling you, sometimes it's best just to wipe the slate clean and start over, right? You're like, okay, let me, so sometimes you just have too many lines, too many indicators going. Now, as you notice, I'm very light in the indicator. I'm not a big fan of, I do use the RSI for divergences, but really I'm looking at the 20, the 50, and the 200 moving average, trend lines, and support and resistance. So, okay, so perfect. Here we go. This is the Euro-Yen weekly. So if you look at all that price action consolidated into big weekly candles, it gives us like a high-level view. And we see that this is a long-term downtrend with the fast moving below the 50, below the slow, which is perfect. And typically, I look for a pullback to the 50 to either buy or sell a position. And by that regards, Euro-Yen looks like a sell to me. However, these are weekly candles. So price could continue and sit down right here and still be considered bullish in the fact that, it hasn't eclipsed this candle in front of it. However, I'm always go with the big trends, so I'll be looking for a sell over the next couple of weeks because the holiday might be a perfect position. Price may just kind of hang here and waver, and then I'll look to get into a sell position. Okay, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and the Euro-Yen playlist if you want regular weekly analysis updates for the Euro-Yen. Thanks. Talk to you soon.